We are joined by one of my favorite people in Kokomo, the Kokomo Humane Society. Welcome, Jean. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad to be here again. I've been here for a while.
I
so
know.
I'm really happy to be here.
Welcome back to the hot seat.
Thank you, yes.
We are going to talk about a lot, but I want to talk about what's new and exciting at the Kokomo Humane Society.
I have to tell you that last Thursday, and I think we talked to Karen Wolf when she was here, talked about we had a sale, My Fuzzy Valentine.
Yes.
We adopted out 15 animals that day.
You're kidding.
No, so that was wonderful.
And that was a half price.
Yeah, it was even less than half price. It was deep discount, as we say. But yeah, so we got 15 animals into homes, and then the following Saturday, without having a sale, we adopted out 10. So
some of those people maybe went Valentine's Day and came back.
Yeah, and we also had people coming in before Valentine's Day, kind of shopping, you know, and that's fine, browsing to see who was there. So we are at a position right now where we have maybe 15 dogs available for adoption.
You're kidding.
No, we have empty cat cages, so that's a good thing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really good thing, and so we're happy about that. And today we have the Purdue Priority for Paws trailer at the shelter, and they are spaying and neutering about 20 animals. So that means that just about everybody's going to be spayed or neutered, and
especially since no waiting.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. So we're really pleased about that. And
is that something that happens all the time? Do they bring the trailer?
They bring the trailer once every 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
But lately, because they've had people who have canceled their dates, they've called us to see if we're interested. So they've been here for the past 3 weeks. So we've been able to get everybody that we need to in. We've also had a couple of feral cats that we've had spayed or neutered so that they can go back to where they were, so that they're not going to reproduce. So
Sure.
And since actually next Tuesday is Spay Day USA, it's our favorite holiday.
Isn't it, everyone?
I think it should be if it's not. But we're really pleased that animals are getting spayed and neutered. Now is a really great time to get your pet spayed or neutered.
Before spring.
Before spring, before they go into heat, before they start into the breeding season, so that you're not going to have that issue of spraying and marking territory.
And explain why that is important, because I think that some people are still kind of confused about getting them spayed and neutered.
There are, for every human being born, there are 7 dogs and cats born.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That is a huge number.
Yes, and so my husband and I would have to have 14 dogs and cats. I'm sure the neighbors would be unhappy, but they would have their 14 dogs and cats, and because we have couples on either side of us. So that's what it's about. And when you take into consideration that there are people who just don't want animals, don't like animals, can't have animals, are allergic, that even bumps up the overpopulation even more. So we want to make sure that people understand this, that having that cute litter of kittens is great, they're sweet, they're wonderful, but that litter of kittens, if you find homes for all of them, those are homes at the shelter where we will not be able to find homes for.
Sure.
And so we're really concerned that animals get spayed or neutered. They're going to be healthier, they're going to be friendlier, they're going to stay closer to home, and so it's a win-win-win-win-win situation.
Sure, because that does help control the pet population.
Absolutely.
And honestly, it gets those pets into their forever homes that are probably going to last, or a likelihood of lasting.
Exactly. Because male dogs get testicular cancer. If they are neutered, that doesn't happen. Females can get mammary cancer. If they are neutered or spayed before they go into heat, then they're going to not have that issue at all, and they're going to be less likely to have that issue even if after they go into heat.
Sure.
And you can spay or neuter dogs and cats as young as 8 weeks old.
Wow.
So yes.
And do you recommend someone or a program for people who already have their pets that maybe aren't spayed or neutered yet?
I would suggest that we have great veterinarians here in Kokomo, and I would suggest that they call around to the veterinarians, get different prices. There's a low-cost spay-neuter clinic in Noblesville that is also very good, and so I would say look at all your options and decide which one works for you. A lot of people want to go to their own veterinarian. That's absolutely great because then you have a good relationship and they understand your animal. So I would say if you can get it done, get it done. Breeding animals is not in their best interest, and it's not in the community's best interest.
Sure, and this kind of helps even control your population.
Right.
As much as you love the animals, you really like to see those empty cages.
Right, and we are one of those service organizations that would really like to put ourselves out of business. If we had no animals coming through the door in 15, 20 years, we would not be crying. We'd be trying to figure out what our next job is, but we would not be.
Sure.
I mean, we would be glad that we're in the situation that we wouldn't have to deal with animals that are unwanted or lost or stray or anything like that. So,
Sure.
yeah.
And it truly is important to actually stay on top of your animal's care, your pet's care with that veterinarian so that you can gain the trust and they actually help you and guide you along the way for the entire care.
Absolutely. And if you have behavior problems, you can talk to your vet about behavioral problems. They can recommend a behaviorist, or maybe they've got somebody on staff who does that. So they are a real resource for you with your pet. And
along with you guys.
we try to be anyway. We really appreciate that. So we work with all the vets in the community. They have been wonderful to us, and they've been wonderful to the animals. So we recommend working with them if you can.
Sure.
So
we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back because I know you want to dive into the Facebook page and things like that. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We are back, and I want to talk a little bit about the Facebook page that you guys have because it's a great way to give information. It's a resource to share tips and tricks and all that kind of thing, but it's also a curse a little bit.
It's a blessing and a curse. We love Facebook because what our Facebook page, the purpose of our Facebook page is to promote adoptions, to celebrate adoptions if people have already adopted animals.
To show pictures of family members.
If they want to send us a picture, that's great. And it's also to promote our events. What is not there for animal control complaints, unfortunately. What we need you to do if you have an animal control complaint, whether it's a cruelty complaint, stray dog complaint, lost animal, call the shelter because we can get the information. Our staff is trained to get the information that they need in order to do that. And it is really, I think the word I want to use is inappropriate to post addresses of people or names of people.
Because you don't want to create a firestorm.
And it's the innocent until proven guilty kind of
Absolutely.
thing. But we need addresses. We need a lot of information, especially about cruelty complaints, before we send our investigators out. So it's very important. Avoid the Facebook page. We do check it every day, several times a day actually, but unless we have all the information we need and we don't have your phone number, we have to have you call us. So it's really, really important to do that.
Because cruelty is a big deal. It is rampant out there.
Yes.
There are signs of it. You see it on television. You see it on the news. But you don't want to create that firestorm, that snowball effect.
Exactly.
That kind of barrels things out of control. And if you're fighting small little fires, then you really can't see the big one.
Exactly right. And what happens is a lot of this is not necessarily cruelty, it is neglect. And it's people who often do not have the knowledge of the resources that are available. We have a food bank at the shelter. We can always give people food. Well, almost always. Sometimes we're out.
Sure.
But we try to make sure that we have enough food to give to people. So a lot of times that's the thing. We would rather educate than prosecute. Unless if it's severe, certainly we will prosecute. And another thing is that we're not animal cops. Those shows are really cool and they're fun to watch, but we cannot go into people's homes, grab their animals, and take them out. That's called theft.
Sure. Well, and you don't know the details. There's a lot of other things that go into television production than what people actually understand.
Yes.
It's not just you can walk in and, oh, I'm taking these animals.
Yeah, and we can't do that. And in order to do that, we have to have a warrant. We have to work with the prosecutors. We have to work with judges in order to get that. And so that's not always the easiest thing to do because, the prosecutor's concerned about human crimes as well. And so, we want to do this. We want to help these animals. Sometimes the best way to help them is through education.
And the gist of it is to get to that original person without having all the comments, without having all the input. Everybody has their own ideas, but you guys want to make sure that the complaint is legit first, and then investigate to make sure that it truly is what it appears to be.
Right, and we need to look at all facets of this. So, and a lot of times there are poverty issues, there are ignorance issues, and so, some people don't know they need to feed their dog every day. It doesn't occur to them. Yeah, I fed them a week and a half ago. So that's what we're looking at, and we approach it with sensitivity. We try and be as supportive of all sides as we can, and also we want to look at all sides of it.
Because pets are literally members of your family.
Yes.
And just because you were taught a certain way doesn't necessarily mean that you're completely wrong.
Yes. And even if you are completely wrong, we can help you understand what's better and what's right.
Right, because on the opposite end of the coin, sometimes overfeeding is just as much of a problem as not feeding enough.
Exactly.
So it's really easy for people to kind of get things a little out of control. So the best way, what's the contact information? If you do have questions or...
Call us at 452-6224, extension 1, and we have our wonderful administrative assistant, also our shelter managers are very well trained in what kind of questions to ask, how to get that animal into a better situation if it needs to be, or how to keep it in the same situation it's in, but in a much better way, a much healthier way for the animal.
And what's important to say here is that you guys are involved, you are trained, and you have the know-how to take care of the situation. Once it's brought to your attention, it's not like, oh, there's nothing wrong. You monitor the situation and continually keep in contact with those people.
Yes, we do.
It's not just a, oh, it's fine, and walk away.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is important not to put this on Facebook. Give us a call. We are there to help.
Right.
We're there from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and noon to 5 on Saturday. And so people can give us a call.
And you guys even work beyond that. Those are your hours, but they're dedicated. That's when I say they know what they're doing.
Yes. And another thing to recognize is that our officers are not deputized, so they are not policemen. And also that they do not carry guns, they don't carry mace, their protection is their training. And so they've got a lot of training. We want to make sure that they are allowed to do their job as they are supposed to do it. So. And
I also want to talk about Easter. We talked about it on another show that's coming up, and I want to get your take on this as well, because Easter's a great time for cute little chickens, cute little bunnies.
They're adorable.
They're great.
They're adorable, but guess what? They grow up.
And they eat and they poop.
Yes, a lot. Birds are really good at pooping, too.
Yes, and there's zoning laws, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it concerns us every year, and we hope that people are smart enough to realize that this is probably not the best situation.
Right.
But there are stores out there that have chicks and ducks, and they are so cute.
They are amazingly cute.
Yeah,
they're great to go and pet.
Yes, you cuddle them in your hands and things like that. And the rabbits are great.
Yep.
And suddenly you realize, as they, maybe a couple of weeks after Easter, that they are looking kind of gawky and growing up, and they're teenagers, and then they get to be big, and if they're roosters, they start making noise.
Yes.
And yes, there are zoning laws in the city of Kokomo and in the other municipalities as well that you may not be able to have a farm animal on your property.
And that, I think, a lot of people forget, and sometimes even aren't educated into.
Right, and you may think, well, I'll just keep it inside, but you really are not going to want to keep that chicken inside.
That rooster hopping up on the toe of your bed?
No, no. And rabbits are actually very complex little individuals. They are very bright. They need to be handled a certain way. And just because they don't make noise doesn't mean that they don't feel pain and that they don't feel have issues. They also have digestive issues that can be a problem for them. They need to be eating hay. You can't just feed them lettuce and carrots and like Bugs Bunny and hope that everything is great. They need to have nutrition, and they need to have specific hay kind of roughage to get their digestive system going. They need to have something to chew on so that their teeth don't grow, because their teeth are not like ours. They continue to grow all through their lives. And so there's a lot to know about rabbits. There's a great website called rabbit.org, run by the House Rabbit Society, and that will give you more information than you ever thought was available on rabbits.
But chickens as well, their diet is pretty.
They
have rocks, is that right?
Yeah, they need to have, again, that for their craw to grind up the food. So yeah, they need to have special food. So we would prefer that you not get them for Easter, let's put it that way, but if this is something that you absolutely cannot keep yourself from doing, please do your homework and understand that this is a living being. It's not a cute fluffy toy.
Talk to somebody
you can't
in 4-H.
Put it on a shelf. Yeah, yes.
4-H, there are all kinds of 4-H members out there that can tell you exactly what they need, the daily requirements, exactly what goes on, the care, the training that you absolutely need, and how important that is to actually own a pet like that.
Yes.
And the same is true for pets like dogs and cats. It's steak off of the table or
yeah, no, it's not
potatoes.
a good idea.
It's best to have a nutrition plan set in place long before you get the pet.
Exactly. And table food can ruin a pet's kidneys. It can cause obesity. It can also teach them that what is in the garbage can is okay to eat.
Right.
So you wake up in the morning with
those
things
habits that are
not habits that you want to promote. So do your homework. The internet is full of great sites to really get all kinds of information.
And again, that goes back to your Facebook page. You guys have those. It's a good thing to have the training. It's a good thing to have those tips. It's a good to have those clinics and all your.
Exactly right.
Because you can ask.
Right, and on our Pinterest page as well, we have recommendations of good books on how to care for pets. We try to give as much information as we can, because that's what we're there for. That's who we are, and so we want.
And you do amazing things.
Thank you.
It's so fun to see what goes on at the Kokomo Humane Society, and I'm so happy about the adoptions. That's fantastic. So
it is.
Again, thank you so much for being in
Thanks,
the hot
Chad.
seat. You're going to be here so much more because I have so many questions and so many seasons.
And I'm willing to answer them, mostly.
We'll be right back.